we played, 3 games in a row against a big guy that dominated us, and it's just something we can't handle defensively. I thought we did a good job for a while tonight, but sooner or later they're going to wear you down, and Bohannon hit a couple threes. But our biggest problem right now is really our offense. We're not getting good movement. I think when we do get some movement, we've gotten some shots and we haven't made them. But offensively, we've got to be a lot better. But a large part of these 3 games is we can't handle a guy like the 3 guys we played against. These are probably 3 of the better offensive big guys that I've seen. Our young players are making mistakes. We made turnovers in the first half, just silly ones. And, that's what's going to happen. But when Quincy gets in around the basket, he's letting little guys take the ball away from him. He's got to be stronger down there. Joe and Buddy need to shoot for us to be effective, but we've got to get better play out of everybody, really. Elijah, in the beginning of the year, I thought Elijah was really playing great. I thought he was moving the ball, looking for people. He was about 4 to 5 assists a game, and I don't think he's doing that now. I think he's looking to score, and I think he's got to look to help other people, too. If you don't force turnovers, you're not going to get fast breaks. We can't rebound the ball to get up the court. So you can't run without getting some rebounding or getting some turnover situation. Where they were going, who they were going to. So there's a lot of bad out there. I didn't see much good. So we got some work to do, and we'll see what happens Saturday.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those 2 unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it as always. And the universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Yay. Yay. Hey, Joe. We sound really happy and excited, but the Big Ten ACC Challenge wasn't much of a challenge for Iowa as they took advantage of a very sloppy Syracuse team on Tuesday. Final score 68-54. I don't. It's gonna be one of those shows. I got a feeling that there might be a couple of these shows, but don't want to beat a dead horse either. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna find a silver lining I think there's something to be said about a couple of things.
We're gonna work through this together.
Yes. Step back off the cliff. We're here, Sean and Joe, to the rescue. So anyway, before we get started in all of that fantastic doings, first we got to thank the good folks over at MyBookie. This portion of the show is brought to you by MyBookie, and it doesn't matter whether you're an experienced player or a first-time customer. MyBookie welcomes all to come and play, so quit waiting around and sign up today. Look, if you know what you're getting into when betting online, go ahead and check it out. I recommend MyBookie, as you well know. But if you are not an experienced, or if you've never even tried online betting, check it out, see if it's right for you. So if you join today, if you go to mybookie.ag and make your first deposit with the promo code CHAIR, MyBookie will match your deposit dollar for dollar up to $1,000 to jumpstart that bankroll. And it's just like always. They're still running this deal, so I would take advantage of it. That's a guaranteed deposit match, dollar for dollar, risk in for all the football fans, for all the basketball fans, for, reality TV show fans. They got props for everything at MyBookie. Go over there, check them all out, sift through them all. So go there, use the promo code CHAIR when you sign up, mybookie.ag. Match your deposit dollar for dollar up to $1,000. You play, you win, you get paid. MyBookie. Thank you. So, anyway. 3 straight losses to non-conference opponents. That's the first time since 1979, 1980. That was my 1-2 year on Earth. And all of a sudden, Syracuse is 4-4 and 0-1 in the ACC, and it's officially Syracuse's worst start since the 1968-69 season. Syracuse kept it close at halftime. They were down by 1, 30-29, but Iowa would break through in the second half. Ended up shooting around 52%, while the Orange backcourt of Girard and Buddy, they combined for 4 of 18 and 13 points together. Girard had made only 4 field goals in the last 3 games. He's still hot from the line. He still does the little things, but 4 field goals in the last 3 games. He was 0 for 4, by the way, last night against Iowa in threes. Buddy was 1 for 5. The last 3 games, Buddy and Girard have combined to shoot 15 of 65. That's 23%. Elijah, who was averaging 17.9 points a game, he only scored 10 points. He was 3 for 13 of shooting. And I feel like he was showing a little frustration. We've talked about how looks like he's trying to do more than he should. We said that last show, I believe. We heard Coach mention it. So you're starting to show it on his face now. A little bit. The rebounding gap closed, which is good, from 57-28 against Penn State, 37-36 last night against the Hawkeyes. It's not terrible. I expected it to be a lot worse, so you can take that away. And also, we outscored Iowa in the paint, 26-24, which I had no idea until I read that stat. But shooting 19 of 52, 36.5% isn't going to get it done. Mark, he led the Orange with 12 points. He led the Orange with 12 points.
Yeah.
So Joe, what do you say? I mean, obviously we've got issue shooting. You got your 2 starting point guards haven't done diddly squat in 3 games. 3 games. And we did close the gap on rebounding against a very good rebounding team. Actually held Luka to what? Well, we didn't hold him to 25 points. He scored 25 points, but he only got 9 rebounds. So I guess he didn't get the double that he's been averaging so far this season.
Yeah.
So
based upon obviously the conversations that we had with James and coming into this game, we knew kind of what to look for and what to hope not to see happen. And in the first half, I thought it looked okay with Garza and everything, and in the second half, he just came out, made pretty much all his shots. Their guards started shooting, they're making their threes. Weiskamp, he seemed to just make everything all night. So they're just an older, just more experienced team that doesn't lack any confidence issues, and then they know their roles, they know their team, and they play together well. Which is obviously our biggest issues right now, right? So
absolutely.
We're a young team, and it's very rare that, yes, every year most players do have different roles, but not every year is it a turnaround or a turnover to where everybody on your roster has to come in and play a role that they haven't played at that level yet. And that's, I think, what we're looking at. That's just it's just there's growing pains in the way that this new season is with the 20 conference games, and now we're playing one of the conference games in the first game of the season, and now our next game on Saturday is a conference game on the road. Patching these 5 tough games against major opponents in the middle of the non-conference. It's not the same type of year. So when you spit out those records and you talk about the losses and this, and it looks bad, but like Boeheim said, every one of those teams, they look to be, tournament type teams, and they have the size that we don't. So again, in a normal 13 game, previous season non-conference schedule, you start with, a lot of the gimme games, and you kind of get your teams going, get them on a roll. But, we started with Virginia, then we had the, few gimme games, 4 gimme games, and then goes right back to this 5-game stretch, and then it's going to be another 3 kind of games against the smaller teams. So after that, but that's another thing that we kind of have to understand and navigate through this season is that we did kind of look at it as not, I don't want to say an experiment, but we knew coming into this that we didn't know what to expect, and that it could look ugly at times. And now not really expecting how the new schedule and how the 11 non-conference games and everything and how the schedule is going to get set up, how that was going to pan out too. So I'm kind of pumping the brakes on all that. I honestly, obviously don't like the way that the non-conference was set up, especially with the conference games. But I mean, there's nothing we can really do, right?
Well, I mean, it's kind of even for everybody. I mean, the playing field's somewhat level.
Well, I'm not saying that it's unfair. I'm just saying that it's unfortunate.
I don't like it either. I don't think.
Well, considering the state of our team, right? It's unfortunate because if we had brought back some experience,
it was the worst case scenario for this team to start with this kind of schedule, right? I mean. Mm-hmm. We're looking at a team that's probably the least experienced team that we've had in our lifetime. It really comes down to it.
I don't remember a time where the roster looked this. Yeah.
No, not even just the youth, but just the inexperience, just in general.
Right.
So
and those things kind of turn around, and that's what affects everything. Obviously, it's not that difficult when you read up on it and everything. Listen to some of the quotes from the Iowa players and stuff. All they did, I mean, they pressured Buddy and Joe and forced them to take bad shots, double teamed them off of the picks, and they kind of just allowed Dolce and Sidibe to kind of do their thing because they are really not afraid of it.
No,
and that's kind of what every single team has done, right? So that's not hard. Well, it's not a hard game plan to pick up. So, we got to learn and we got to get better and we got to do it fast because these major conference teams, it's going to be too easy to guard us.
Well,
it's been too easy.
In the case of Mark on the pick and roll, it was the only time where someone was kind of close to him. That was it, when he was scooting back off a pick down low. That was the only time anyone was close to him. Any other time, everybody was paying attention to Buddy and Gerard. I mean, they had 3 guys on those 2, and he actually had. That's why he was actually to be a little bit successful, because he did get space when they weren't doing the pick and roll. So when they were doing the pick and roll, really, Sidibe is like, I'm really confused on Sidibe and what he's trying to do sometimes, just in general. Right. I mean, sometimes sometimes I think he's dribbling too much. I mean, he makes me nervous.
It's a couple people in certain situations that make me nervous on this team, but it's again, like I said, it's figuring out the roles, and it's just unfortunate that we have to play these type of teams in this. And obviously,
I think it probably could be better in the long run.
It could, and again, that's the other thing too. Is I was going to throw it out there because nobody wants to chalk it up as take everything out of it. I just you're going to obviously want to take everything out of a loss as you possibly can, but people want to see W's. Right. I mean, obviously playing against talent and stuff like that might help them. But, I mean, you can argue, especially watching from yesterday, that, I mean, I don't know about you, but to me it looked like I don't want to say one way or another, but like Joe Girard last night compared to Joe Girard other games. Like, it just looked like his confidence has gone away a little bit, and that stuff that, like, again, playing against competition and playing like that and not trying to figure stuff, not figuring out your roles and knowing what, your full team in rotation looks like. Yeah, sometimes, like you said, it can help, but sometimes, it can hurt if it takes away the confidence.
Well, I mean, we do have a couple games after Georgetown. Georgetown got their own struggles, too. Mm-hmm. And so they've got their issues. But after Georgetown, we got some games that are,
there's 3 of them.
Some more winnable games, 3 in a row. And, you when it comes to doing, there's not a ton of analysis to give. I mean, Joe does a great job with kind of trying to look outside the box, and we try to be a little bit more positive. But, we're only going to be able to do it before long. I mean, we're trying to remain optimistic because there's still a lot of time left, guys. Obviously, if you read stuff on Twitter from us from me, because Joe doesn't really tweet, but that's mostly me. And, sometimes I put the truth out there, but when you step back and you look at this a day after the game and you really look at it, it's been 8 games. What does that leave us? 22? So, I mean, there's a long way to go. Our ACC schedule isn't terrible. It's probably one of the best case scenarios we could have with this team on that end. And we play Virginia twice, but we only got to play them one more time. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
You look at the Duke and the UNC. That's one game each. That could be that could be 4 between them on a bad year.
No. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I mean, like I said, I always try to look for the silver lining, and again, there's a chance where maybe it takes, like what Boeheim said, longer than he thought. I would like to think that the team is going to progress and get better to the point where we are, competitive in the ACC and we can get into the tournament. But again. Well, I mean, obviously, like I said, that's how I would like to feel. Right. But again, it's you just never know. It could happen. It could not. I mean, like I said, things have happened. It seems they do progress throughout the season. And some people can call them excuses. I like to call them reasons to try to kind of talk myself into believing why certain things are the way that they are.
I totally agree with that.
And at the end of the day, like I said, right now they got to fix things. It's as cut and dry as we can't stop big men and other teams that have big men rebounding and scoring down low, which affects our whole 2-3 zone. And on offense, we don't really have our whole roles cut out, and we only have 3 guys that can. And if Mark's got to get his confidence up, but right now there's only 3 guys that other teams are worried about. Yeah. And if they leave it up to Mark and Doljai to beat us, Mark and Sidibe to beat us, then they got a good chance. And it comes down to as much as that. It's just as easy as that.
Someone else has to do something to take attention away. I mean, you have to be able to spread the defense, and it's just not doing it.
Gary can come up. I mean, again, I've seen.
And he's shown flashes.
He's had flashes, yeah.
But
100%.
like Coach said, he's getting the ball taken away from him by little guards and things like that. And that was Chukwu's problem. I mean,
and a lot of times when he does get the ball passed to him, he does look like he plays a little hot potato right there real quick before he catches it. There's not a lot of clean catches all the time from him.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those really not nifty, tricky, but quick no look type things where he's just not catching those, and Sidibe's not catching those.
No, well, Sidibe, but I'm saying even Guerrier, there's times where he bobbles the ball when the ball gets to him where he could have an easier.
But those are catchable balls.
Easier
those
go.
Those are plays that should be made.
Well, like last night, Sidibe was in a situation where if he was on the same level as Elijah, he would have rolled and he would have got a no-look pass dunk. But instead, Elijah threw the pass and it just went flying out of bounds because we're not there. And that's like I talked to you about last night. You can see the frustration on Elijah's face, and it's just I feel bad for him because there's just not too many players on his team right now that are at the level that he's at.
And he's not going to be able to put this team on his shoulders and try to take it either. And And
to be perfectly honest with you, as much as we know he's the best player and that that we want him to score and take shots, I don't want it to be another Tyus battle situation or anything like that where we got one guy just kind of
taking over the game.
Yeah, one-on-one, that kind of stuff. The bottom line is that we have to grow as a team and get better. If one person tries to do it, then it's just going to hurt the rest of the team. I mean, we saw that in football.
And back to Gary A. He's shown really. He's shown he was very physical against Penn State. Well, very physical, but he was probably one of the more physical ones against Penn State. He did a great job, but when a ball's on the ground coming at you, man, and you got open area, and you kick it instead of just reach. It's like a natural reaction to kick the damn thing or what? But that's basically, just turn the ball over. And then trying to chase a ball that is out on Iowa.
Or what was it, that pass
chase
that went out of bounds and you go to catch it?
Yeah, he would try to.
Just little things like that. Yeah, you could easily just let it go.
Just let it go.
Nobody touched it. Yeah, so just like I said, just little things like that. You just got to shore up, and that's just what freshmen do.
And I'm no great prophet or anything, but I still contend that these games will mostly go the way of the matchup down low. And that's going to be something they're not always going to have those, matchups down low the way they've been getting them. But, there's a few of them, and there's another one coming up. So.
Well, I mean, there's some big guys out there, and that's one thing. But, you could tell. Luka Garza is a skilled offensive player around the rim.
He's
Watkins
very good. He's hitting 3-pointers. Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Yor from Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
He was pretty good down there. Definitely a really good shot blocker. So, Diakite with Virginia, those guys, they're all upperclassmen, big guys that actually have
What's
legitimate.
Diakite weigh?
Oh, I don't know, but I mean, he's a legit NBA player. Like, there's legit big men with legit offensive skills down low that we've been playing against. There's not every big man is going to be like that. So again, that might help with the offensive rebounds and stuff like that. But we were playing against true big men with true offensive skill around the basket.
224, 6'9", 224. So I mean, he's not that big, but he's skilled.
No,
He's got
I mean,
that
he's not
mid-range
even
jumper though.
Well, they have Huff too.
Oh, true. Yeah.
They had Huff and Hims as the center and their power forward. So just
Yeah.
like Penn State, they had the upperclassmen with Watkins and what's the other guy there? I forget his name, but it was the other senior there that had Lamar Stevens. He had the most starts or over 100-something starts or something like that on the team. He was a senior. So, Garza's a junior. So we're playing upperclassmen, big, good offensively skilled big men.
All right. Well, we could go on and on and on, but there's more to talk about, and we're going to bring it in with fan feedback. But as always, fan feedback, folks, is brought to us by Blue Chew. Now, remember, if you want to increase your performance and get extra confidence when it counts, listen up, BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredient as Viagra and Cialis, so you know it works. You can take them anytime, day or night, on a full or empty stomach. And since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as the pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. If you could benefit from extra function and more confidence where it counts, Blue Chew is the fast and easy way to enhance your performance. Blue Chew is prescribed online, and it ships straight to your door in a discreet package, so no in-person doctor's visits, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, no more awkwardness, Joe. They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than the pharmacy. Right now, we've got a special deal for our listeners. Visit BlueChew.com and get your first shipment free when you use the special promo code ARMCHAIR. Just pay the $5 shipping. Again, that's BLUEChew.com. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR. Try it for free. Blue Chew is a better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for supporting this podcast. Remember, guarantees, promises no guaranteed results, and it does not cure disease. Joe. So, fan feedback was as feedbacky as you thought it would be. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how to put it. But what do you say we get into it? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do. At the end of every game, I propose the question, thoughts on the game. That prompts you to give your thoughts on the game. It's just that simple. It's not like rocket science, like buy, sell, or hold, for crying out loud.
Right.
Right, Joe?
Way easier.
Way easier than that. So, top fan. Look, I turn these top fan things on Facebook. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. You know,
Shows up in the comments, I know.
yeah, dude, it's fun. So, top fan Steven says, I'm sorry, but right now, my man Sidibe is looking like Chuku 2.0. Ooh, boy. Without the defense or rebounds, Dole is all right, but cannot play 5 at all. I am with you on that. I don't think he should either. I think they're going away from that. We need some big man help ASAP. Yeah? I mean, yeah.
Well, it's not like we can go pick up a free agent, so I don't really know what you want me to do. It's not like Sidibe's going to put on 30 pounds in the middle of the season, or Jesse Edwards for that matter. I just don't. Again, Boeheim's going to play the people he's confident with, and we have who we have. So
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
That's right.
Just like I talked about with roles.
Yeah.
He's got to step up. I mean, we talked about Dojai. Again, he had another one of those fouls that we talked about. Where,
really stupid one. Third one, too.
You know what I mean?
Just
the third
dumb.
one, too. You can't do that. He can't do that this year. And just like this year, we need him to score. I mean, I know last year it was like, if he gave us a double-double or did something like that, or, he scored points, then it would put us over the edge. Like this year, we need him to score to win. So, again, that's the new role he's trying to take on. And, again, Sidibe, he's trying to take on that role where he's actually got to be the reliable center in the middle. And, so, again, those are the new roles that they're trying to figure out, and just happens to be playing in the first 4 out of their 8 games against big men that are tough for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Top fan Daryl our buddy Daryl. He says, "This is a young team. Yes, we're bad now, but this team will learn from these losses. I will say this, I love Coach Jim, but at some point, people really need to start asking the question, 44 years has been a good run." That wasn't a question, though. That was a statement. 44 years has been a good run.
Right.
44 years has been a good run. And, you know,
I think he's saying the question.
I know,
because everyone
Joe.
knows
It's
what
a
the
joke.
question is. You
it's
don't
a
have to
joke,
say.
Joe. These are jokes.
Oh, okay.
These are
All right,
jokes.
I couldn't tell.
Okay?
I really thought you didn't get it. Sorry,
Oh,
my bad.
okay.
I know
Well,
that you sometimes a little
it's
slow
not
to
funny.
catch on. So
It's not funny.
Sorry, Jim. Sorry. No one laughs at my jokes. Okay.
I didn't know it was a joke.
No, Daryl, you're right. Daryl keeps the optimism, but puts a little bit of truth in there. I mean, you can have your opinions on Coach. I don't think I'm ready to have a huge discussion about it on the air. We've mentioned certain things that may come up now, but I think Daryl has got a good positive attitude. You know, I mean, we're bad now, but like Joe, we said, you know, these are tough losses that this team can learn from. I think, you know, you don't grow without adversity. You know,
Right.
Not unless you're blue chip. You know, you have to overcome something, okay? And that's what it's going to have to be. They're going to have to hang their hats on adversity, but they got to overcome it first. And right now,
Right.
they're just drowning. So,
Yeah. Well, and again, this is you wonder if this is the actual the final effects of those years that we didn't have those extra scholarships, right? Where we could have got some of those extra.
oh, absolutely.
You know,
but there's a
because we could have
yeah.
built that depth then. So then, but instead we kind of
Sure.
stuck with.
Sure.
So now all of a sudden we get those scholarships back, and now we got recruiting classes of 4 and 5 kids back to back years. Now you got 9 underclassmen that are still trying to figure stuff out. So again, with this roster, I would.
Well,
I would
hold on.
challenge
To
any
that point.
coach.
To that point, though, I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll let you finish. But to that point, I didn't choose this. Didn't choose this comment, but it is in here, and I don't remember where it is. But someone mentioned that about losing all of those draft picks, all those scholarships, and you know he compares it to Louisville. Look at Louisville right now, and they had hookers. You know what I'm saying? So they lost a lot too. But, you know, they're still on the residual, but, you know,
That's
it's just, right?
Again,
Yeah.
I mean, there's different things that go with that. I mean, it's 2 different situations. So I don't really know exactly how much Louisville did lose. And
I'm not, except for the championship, I can't even remember.
That's what I'm
all I
saying.
remember.
You know, and since then they've actually changed the coach. I don't know about the athletic director or not, that whole culture. So, yeah, I don't really. And plus, Louisville's a little bit more relevant as far as winning national championships, as far as
I guess.
relatively more sooner
We have the
than
same
we
amount.
have.
Yeah, well, right. Okay.
Well, we have the same amount. We might have the same amount, but at the end of the day, it's more. It's been more recent than us.
It's been
so-
within a decade. So,
right.
Uh,
Well, let's just say Louisville's been a better, more relevant team than we have in probably the past 5 to 8, 10 years. Right. So.
yeah. Skip on Facebook, not a top fan, but we're still going to take his comment anyway.
One day you might get there.
Yeah, you keep commenting, you might. This team is this team is the result of allowing a fantastic recruiter who was promised head coaching job to leave and never return. I do not see any ACC level athletes on this SU team at all this year. Coach Hopkins should have been given his opportunity as promised. Now SU is this? Question mark. Now SU is this? So, see how I changed the inflection because
There
was a
you
question
go.
mark at
Nice.
the end? So,
I like it.
So, well, in a little bit of like, I agree with some of this, but there is an aspect to Coach Hopkins leaving where he had an opportunity to go become closer with his family, and I think his dad had dementia, and that was like, almost like, you know, I don't want to say it was his reason for leaving because I don't really know if it was his reason for leaving, but I mean that definitely went into it. So to head back to
Right.
Washington and be close to his family. But with that said, it was expected, and we all thought it for years and just thought we would have bet the bank on it that Coach Hopkins was going to be the head coach of Syracuse sooner than later. And so
Right.
we all remember how that went down. So
Yeah. Well, and again, too, he's doing a great job over in Washington.
He's doing awesome.
Right,
Just say it.
he is.
Yeah.
He is doing awesome. But again, I mean, you never know. Obviously, how long? I mean, obviously, we had like the little. We've talked about it before, like when he coached at Syracuse and everything like that. So obviously, I'm always going to look at it as the jury's still out. But
True.
I can tell you one thing, as far as head coach, as far as him recruiting, completely different story. So, yeah, that's basically the one thing that I've noticed ever since Hopkins has been gone. We haven't really recruited a player to a point where I don't want to say we haven't like. It's just the recruits that have been able to come in and make an instant impact have kind of gone down.
There haven't
kind of see
been
that.
any.
Well,
Name
I don't
one.
know if
Give me
O'Shea
one.
Brissett was him or not, but
Well, okay.
that's probably
well,
like the only one
yeah,
right now that I can
I'll
think
give
of,
you
and
that.
possibly an Elijah Hughes transfer. But
Yeah, well, also had experience playing college ball.
right, but I look at the players that he's got, who he got now. I mean, again, like I said, just if we had Isaiah Stewart on this team, it would be a completely different team, and that probably would have happened if Hopkins was here. So, again, that's
And
where
who knows
I see,
what else?
Well, yeah, but that's what I see.
Right.
That's what I see the major difference with, obviously, with Hopkins going away. And he did talk about him being a recruiter, a very good recruiter. So
Yeah. James, not a top fan, but we'll take his comment anyways. I never in my life seen people leave with 9 minutes to go in a game. Sad state right now. Maybe time for Jimmy to ride off into the sunset. Well, I mean, they were... With 9 minutes left, everybody could see the writing on the wall. Whether or not you think that's okay to leave or okay to stay at, pushing 9 o'clock on a Saturday night, that's up to your discretion. I don't blame people for leaving. Probably not my jam, but I'm definitely not going to fan shame for it, especially with a performance like that.
right.
As far as
I mean, I don't know. Do you know? I mean, the weather up there, was it bad? I mean, was it
not? I don't think it was last night during the game, but obviously conditions were not great.
Well, I mean, I was
so.
wondering why there really wasn't as many fans.
Well, I'm
I
thinking
thought
that-
that was
yeah.
going to be a packed crowd, right?
I know,
So
right?
When I saw that, I'm
Yeah.
thinking, well, they must be having a snowstorm or something. Yeah,
I thought
didn't-
so too, but I didn't even look.
Right. So,
So-
again, 9 minutes is a little bit too early for me, unless you're getting beat by 30. But
Yeah.
I'd like to think at that point there's still a chance for a comeback. But again, like you said, the writing is on the wall, and I do think that
You can see how
until
sluggish
until
they
this
were too.
until this team shows something different against that type of opponent, then I really can't blame them. Again, like you said, not my thing. I probably would have stayed a little bit longer, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but it is what it is. At
Yep.
Oil Cuse on Twitter, Sean and Joe, and he spells my name right, Captain Patrick. Hats off to you. Gio still can't do it right. So, Gio, if you're listening, it's S-H-A-W.
S-E-A-N.
That's what Gio puts, yeah. I spell it like an American. Sean, S-H-A-W-N. For anybody who cares, which is probably none of you. Sean and Joe, this is the worst Cuse basketball team I've ever seen. I can't handle much more of this. With these types of games, my bourbon collection is dwindling down fast.
Ooh.
Well, oof. Cap.
Well, you know what to ask for Christmas.
Yeah. Hey, post it up. Post it up. I've seen his bar, actually. He tweeted out a picture of his bar one time. So it's
yeah.
very, very nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, they've been some stressful games, man. I'm right there with you. So
Yeah, it's here's my thing. You know what's difficult about covering, we're going on close to 3 years of covering just about every football and basketball game for 3 years. And sorry, actually our fourth basketball season. And it just can't be like this all the time, can it? There's got to be something else to come and talk about. There just has to be. And that's why we try to find different angles, even
Right.
when things are good, right, Joe? I mean, it's just, So
Yeah.
it's going to get hard. I think it could get worse before it gets better, in fact, because Jim Boeheim's never lost 5 games in a row, and that's a possibility. It is a possibility. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying it's possible. So
Well,
at 3,
obviously.
4 is. Well, I know, but I'm just saying 4 is I think his worst run was 4. So we're at 3
Yep.
now. So at Tony
Yeah,
Staffy,
and then going on the road against an ACC opponent isn't.
it doesn't help things. And then going on the road again after that to play Georgetown. We don't know what kind of Georgetown team we're going to get anymore. I don't think.
No, don't bring any belongings to the locker room.
Yeah, right. Or your sister. So
Don't leave it on the bus.
yeah, at Tony Staffieri on Twitter. Now that they have achieved the trifecta of losing to mid-level Power 5 teams, it's safe to say this team has no worries on Selection Sunday. They have no shot of making the tournament.
Well, if you're along the lines that nothing's going to change, this is going to be the team for the rest of the year, then you're absolutely right.
Tony, I don't think this is going to be the team we see at the end of the year, but if I had to buy, sell, or hold, they have no shot of making the tournament, Joe. If I had to buy, sell, or hold that, I don't think I'd even hold right now. I really don't. I think I'd buy that. I'm just saying, obviously, realistically, it could be a hold, but I have not seen anything to tell me that I should even hold. I would have to buy it.
I'd hold, but
Of course you would. Of course you would. Because you
That's the
always leave
homer
me
in
out
me,
to
bro.
dry. You always leave me out to dry, Joe.
well, you yell at me when I pick the same things as you when we actually do buy, sell, or hold, and now you want me to agree with you? Okay, I see how it is.
Oh,
Double
man.
standard.
I know. I can't. You can't win for losing. At Doug Vaughn fan,
It's my life.
Jim is playing the blame game. Never takes responsibility. I feel he's losing the team. You notice when things are really, really bad in press conferences with Coach, how his demeanor is not like really angry, like when things are occasionally bad or like during a bad game or just like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's very calm and just straightforward. He's had his head down the whole time. I mean, he knows, man, it's not good.
Yeah, you don't sound surprised. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not like, but in the past, he gets angry because he knows that,
Right.
like,
that
he
they could
knows
do
that
better.
there's better. They should be better. There's
Yeah.
players that should play better.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's kind of just like we got to get better.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it's kind of coach speak, but like he's being honest. Like you can tell, I mean, he gets angry when he knows when the players aren't meeting expectations. And in this
Right.
situation, I think it's almost like I don't want to say defeated, but
is he playing the blame game? Is he not taking? Well, obviously he's not taking
No.
responsibility, but is he playing the blame game?
that's not about response. I mean, a guy like that probably. I mean, he's 44 years, man. So like, and that's where when people call for his head and say, "Oh, it's 8 games." Like, I think he's earned the respect to be able to give him a full palette for a whole season to see what's up.
Yeah,
you know,
obviously, sure. Yeah.
But
What about Tyler's idea, though? He said that on the air, right?
what? Oh, yeah.
Did he say it on the
yeah.
air?
I
Did he
don't
say it
know
on
if
the
he
air?
did or not. So,
Okay,
I mean,
if-
we should. I'll hold on that. So.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and at the end of the again,
I think he said it off the air, by the way. So
yeah.
probably best
so,
we don't
but
bring
in
it
his
up.
press conferences, like I said, that's his platform to motivate his players. That's another way to reach his players and kind of get them to
yeah.
work on it. And we've always talked about that. So
Yeah, but I didn't
doesn't
see.
not I'm not saying it always works, but
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want him to do?
You
Sit
know,
up there and just say, "Well, it's my fault."
Well, no.
These players are good enough to win. I'm just screwing the pooch. I mean, what do you want him to say?
I know, I get it.
They're not ready. He come out and say what it is. They're not ready. It's not a blame game.
And
thing.
if I didn't agree with that, I guess I'd have a better argument, right? So I mean, I agree with that. So I'm not going to take the side of, well, he should be blaming himself, because I don't know what he would blame himself for. I guess I don't know.
Right. Now, if he's out there, if he's out there,
I do think there's a disconnect with the age gap. There could be something like that.
yeah, well,
And I'll go that far.
Yeah.
I'll go that far.
Well, yeah, I think that's a lot to do with everything. That's a lot
Sure.
to do with, I mean, the media nowadays and the way that he attacks it and the way that they attack things and stuff like that. So again, I mean, the world has changed a lot in the years that he's been in Syracuse.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's pretty much kind of stayed true to who he is for the most part. So, I mean, I'd be willing to bet that the press conference he gave yesterday is probably the press conference that he gave back in 69 or 78 or 79, wherever, when he lost 4 in a row. So,
By the way, Virginia just got crushed by Purdue.
yeah,
40
I
to
did see
69.
that. Yeah, I'm not really liking ACC's chances of winning this
The ACC
challenge.
Big Ten Challenge, yeah.
But
Here, let's move on though. At Nick
Yep.
Sweetland won. Didn't have much hope for this team coming into the game. Garza was a force down low. Cuse lacks strength. They have been since the days of Onawaku. Nice to see Dolezaj realize he's better than he thinks. Tough game to watch. Yeah, see, the Dolezaj's problem is, well, they haven't. I would say Onawaku. What do you think, Joe? Didn't we think of one time? I don't remember if it was on the show.
I mean, Christmas is probably
Raheem
the most
Christmas.
recent.
Yeah. Now I don't know about Dolezaj for this reason. He's too streaky with his shooting. Like, he'll have a really good game and then he'll be terrible for 3 games, but he does the little things. And so that's how he is. I don't know if I expect that to change.
I don't know. I mean, the way that Boeheim talked about it, that he said it the past couple games or whatever, that he can shoot better, and I think it's just a confidence thing. I mean, I think last night you saw it in certain aspects. I mean, throughout the season, he's made good plays around the basket, trying to get the ball to CDB and stuff like that, and obviously he makes the hustle plays. But last night, I mean, he hit a mid-range jump shot and he hit a 3-pointer. So, I mean, when his confidence is up and he's open in the play, the other team's going to leave him open. Yeah. He's got to be able to make that shot.
He's going to be open quite a bit. At Cuse Waterboy, so disheartening, might be in store for a very rough year. There's zero fire there. I'd kill for someone, whether it be Boeheim or one of the players, to just lose it and start screaming just to show some passion. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Elijah should
I'll
be
get on that.
Yeah, I feel like Elijah should be down there doing something to pump this team up. And he pumps them up when things are going good. He gets loud, he screams, he does his thing.
Right.
But when things are down, you got to be able to huddle your guys and be a leader. I mean, and we're not, I'm not saying hey, he's not a leader, we're not going there. But I'm just saying that's what leaders do. When your team is like that, you try to pump everybody up. You bring everybody back up to your level, even if you don't even buy it yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And again, this goes back to the new roles situation, right? I mean, last year, I don't even know if they had a vocal leader like that.
They didn't.
I don't know how many years it's been since they have.
Long time.
But at the end of the day, that's a new role that's got to be incumbent on somebody, and most likely that is probably a freshman right now that is struggling. So, and sometimes it's hard for a freshman to come on and just take on a leadership role, especially when you're struggling early. So,
yeah,
I mean, to me, that's Gerard. And I mean, I think you saw it early when he was playing well, when he came in and played okay against Virginia, and then played well in those 4 wins. But now I think he's gotten a little dose of reality, and I think that he's openly admitted that that he's never been D'd up like some of these last couple of games. So, he's definitely getting a crash course on what major conference Division I basketball is all about.
Yeah, it's the speed of it, and we kind of expected him to have to go through a learning curve with the speed of the game, and you see
most players do, man.
Yeah,
most players do.
At Strict 31, we don't run any offensive sets. A high ball screen pick and roll 80 times a game is not an offense at the collegiate level. Syracuse will not finish 500 this year. We've talked numerous times about the pick and roll and how not only awful it is, but how ineffective it is, and it continues to be done. And I did see some hand signals on offense, but I didn't notice a play.
Again, plays, rotations, different things like that. I think that more or less a lot of times we do rely on some pick and roll one-on-one. Well, not a lot of times. That's what we've been doing the past couple of years. But the pick and roll, they have different motions and stuff like that. And then motions is just like basic little thing you just go through and you move, you pick for each other, backdoor cut, those type of things, try to set the defense up. And again, though, for that to work, everyone's got to know what they're doing. They got to be able to kind of move together. And the pick's got to be solid, and everything's got to kind of work. And again, that takes time, just like an offensive line coming together and having to work together. So that's just one of those things that comes with this whole thing. Like, again, I don't understand where the surprise is. We talked about it coming into the season about how young we were and how we were excited to see how they were going to grow and what it was going to be like without the guys that we had the past couple of years, because it was going to be a new type of team. Well, we got 9 freshmen and sophomores. This is just the beginning of it, and we talked about it. This is going to be more of a watch them, see what they are in the beginning, and see where they can end up near the end. But I don't think there was any guarantees ever, so I don't understand the surprises.
Yeah, and maybe it's not surprise, maybe it's disappointment, but either way, we did talk about it. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that I didn't set expectations because I kind of had a feeling where this team was going to be, but even with that said, I'm just seem optimistic at heart, and when I go into these games, I feel like we should win, and it's disappointing. And to see us that bad, this bad, it's disappointing.
I wouldn't say should.
Well, at this point, I wouldn't say should either.
Like I said, I never unless we're playing against Colgate Cornell, I don't think should.
Okay, well, all right, whatever. Don't mince my words. You know what I'm saying. So I just think that it's disappointing for people to see a team that's struggling this bad and is this off on offense. So
yeah, I mean, look, I get it. People want to see, people want to see us win, right? And when you see Buddy the way he shot last year and the way Elijah can score, and every single time, every game that we're on TV, you got some telecaster talking about how Joe Girard scored almost 5,000 points in New York history. Like, so I get it. I get that the hype is there, and I get that people expect certain things, but there's growing pains, and it doesn't really matter how many points you score in high school. There's growing pains. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing.
Absolutely. All right. Well, it is on to Georgia Tech. Let's do it.
Do it.
Syracuse will head south to play Georgia Tech on Saturday at noon. The game will be on ACC Network. The all-time series between the two teams sits at 5-6 in favor of the Yellow Jackets. Tech sits at 3-2, 1-0 in the ACC. And with the single victory coming over NC State, 82-81, they're led by 6'5" sophomore guard Michael DeVoe. He's hitting 54% of his shots, averaging 23.4 points a game. And then we have 6'10", 250-pound senior forward James Banks III. He leads the team in rebounding with 9.8. And he's hitting 50% of his shots from the field, averaging 13.4 points a game. So, again, a close double-double average, and he'll be the match down low. Joe, I mean, here we go. Another big guy down low having to deal with. So get your thoughts on this. But along with that is a sharpshooting guard, too, and in DeVoe, he's hitting like over 60% of his 3-point shots.
Right. Yeah, he's the main guy. He's a sophomore, 6'5" sophomore, and Josh Pastner's highest rated recruit since he's been at Georgia Tech. And obviously it was last year's class. So him coming up, he's definitely right now, I believe going into today, he was the leading scorer going into the ACC, and he scored 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists tonight, and they just beat Nebraska by 17 at home. So he is a really, really good player, especially offensively. And again, like you talked about, James Banks. Now, James Banks, he was one of those guys that I was talking about as far as he's a big guy, but he's not really as skilled around the basket as some of the big guys that we've already played against this year. He blocked 8 shots against Bethune-Cookman last game. So he is a shot blocker. and that's something you have to worry about. And obviously rebounds, offensive rebounds, those type of things. But he's not the type of guy that's going to, get the ball and score like Garza did. I mean, he only took 6 shots tonight. So, again, just looking at some of the last past box scores, some of the obviously you got Michael DeVoe, who's shooting a lot of the shots, and it looks like a lot of the guards. I mean, tonight they're 3 guards that put up 16 3-pointers. So between that and their forward Moses Wright is a 6'9", 230-pound junior. He went 8 of 14, scored 18 tonight as well. So they get scoring from all different places. But when you really look down the line, I mean, James Banks 6'10", 250. Moses Wright 6'9", 230. Khalid Moore 6'7", 200 pounds. On the bench, Evan Cole 6'10", 225. I mean, they got 3 guys that are over 6'9", that are bigger than Sidibe for the most part. Now, the one thing to really look at with this matchup, and I don't know if you remember him, but Jose Alvarado, their point guard, he's a junior, so he's been a point guard the past 2 years. He's been really good defensive player, and he actually hurt his ankle earlier in the season. Actually, the first game of the season against NC State, which they did beat actually at NC State, the first game of the season, and then they beat Elon at home, and he didn't play against Elon. Next game, they traveled to Georgia, lost by 4 points. He tried to play. I guess it's severely sprained ankle. He tried to play, got about 17 minutes, but he really struggled, and I don't know if he retweaked it or not, and he hasn't played in the game since. And after that, they lost a close game by 1 at home against Arkansas, or that might have been actually a neutral court game, and then they actually just barely squeaked out a win against Bethune-Cookman last week by 3. So, and he didn't play again tonight either, but I did see him kind of moving around. So if he actually does come back from this sprained ankle, that's definitely going to help them, because right now they're running a 3-guard lineup, and one of them is relying on a 6'5" freshman, and then the other one is a junior, but he's 5'10", so he gives up a little bit of size as far as on the guard side goes. So if Jose Alvarado doesn't play, then we definitely get a little bit of an advantage there on the guard side. Get a couple of them in foul trouble, and then that might be able to help us. But realistically, it's just stopping these big guys from getting off the boards. But I'm not as afraid of their big guys around the basket based upon their offensive skill. Don't get me wrong, though. Still a good team.
Yeah, that was good, though. You got to think, too, you got, what's today? Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you got 2 days, basically, to make a decision. And, we all remember him from last year. So, yeah, kind of a big deal, but, we'll see what happens. Either way, we're going to play what we got to play. And I don't know if it matters a whole lot who ends up on the court. I mean, an advantage is an advantage, and I'll take it. But
well, I'll tell you what. I mean, if he were to play full strength, that's somebody that it would give Joe Girard problems. So
that's not saying much. I'm not sure if that's saying much.
What do you mean?
I'm saying that I've seen Joe Girard struggle against less talented guards anyway.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this guy is. I mean, his specialty is defense. So again, I mean, he would give him more problems than the last 2 guys that he played against.
I got what you're saying.
Yeah. So again, the one thing to look at with this team though is that again they have been missing Alvarado for the most part, but they, other than the Elon game, every game that they played has been within 4 points. I mean, out of the way, other than tonight, because they won by 17. But I don't know how good Nebraska is. But, I mean, they beat Bethune-Cookman by 3 and NC State by 1, lost to Arkansas by 1, lost to Georgia by 4. So, and I watched Georgia play. I know they're a decent squad. So, this team isn't a pushover. Pastner was a good coach at Memphis. And I know that I believe that they're not eligible for the tournament this year because of some type of NCAA violations. But I wouldn't be surprised if Pastner don't try to turn that around as motivation. So a good coach, and you could tell the team was getting better just a few years since Pastner's got there. So definitely another game that makes me nervous.
Yeah, and by the way, I think we played Georgia Tech twice, so this will be the first meeting, another early meeting before conference play, and then
Yep.
a few more games, 4 games, right? And then conference play, is that it?
Georgetown and then 3 others, yeah. So
Yeah, 4 games till conference play then. So
right.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, look, that was one of Joe's best previews. Very good, Joe. Well done.
Thanks, man.
All right. Look, I want to thank Blue Chew. Go to bluechew.com and enter the promo code armchair, and you will get your first shipment for free when you use the special promo code. Just pay the $5 shipping, and I want to thank MyBookie. Obviously, you know the deal. They'll double your deposit dollar for dollar. Just use the promo code chair at mybookie.ag. I would like to thank all of you who participated in fan feedback. I would like to thank all of you for listening. Look, it's not easy watching your team get slaughtered 3 games in a row and then listen to a podcast about it. So we thank you. We really do, because you guys don't have to come here, but you do. And we are not sure why yet, but we appreciate it. So truly, seriously. So anyways, I want to thank James on guitar. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.